Hello and welcome to episode 68 of the Madaxeman podcast, and the 6th in this row of lockdown series 3 as we come into what potentially may even be the tail end of the UK-wide lockdown. The whole team of 7 get rather excited about this week as we consider the possibility of both being able to play again and go to the pub. We also have all the regular features. Andy's quiz returns, and Dave takes centre stage for an episode of I'm Sorry, I Think You're an Arse. We also then, of course, trot through the week's painting, the week's gaming, and then finally we wrap up, as usual, with a look ahead to what's coming in the next week or so. So sit back, pin back your ears, and enjoy the podcast.
This means war.
Well, look, we're here. We're recording on a Monday evening, just after our glorious leader. I think.
Sorry.
Looking around, well, it's probably glorious on account of. I'm not sure the rest of us could brush our hair with a balloon and have quite such an effect. But if I'm reading it correctly, I suspect it means that we might even be potentially back in the escape, playing toy soldiers. By the 17th of May? Is that the right one? Or is it
June?
Or is it 21st of June? It's
21st of June.
It's one of those two.
Plenty of time to paint up armies then.
Plenty of time.
So
to
what
paint
army
up
should we do?
What army should we do? Well, look, let's dive into the painting and see which armies are on the deck this week, because the full set of 7 are here. And I'm going to go straight to the middle of my screen today, which is Mr. Finkel in your glorious kitchen environment as usual. I imagine you've got a big pot of paint bubbling away there on the stove top, and what is it? It was skeletons last week, wasn't it? Have you learnt any more about skeletons?
Yes, they're actually easier to paint than I thought. I've actually painted finished all the infantry, the spearmen, and I've got 160 10mm figures of bowmen, and I've actually undercoated them all, and I've finished painting about half of them.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm cracking through them at a rare old pace, and I suspect that if I can keep this pace of painting up, which depends on having one evening or one day of painting over the weekend, that I could finish the army by the end of March, which would be quite surprising.
Wow. Then they'd be able to meet 2 other people outside in a social situation without doing exercise or something. Is that the way it would work? They could meet for coffee. Not that would really work for skeletons, I wouldn't have thought. Difficult for them to...
No, the coffee would... mind you, the coffee would be a probably cheaper form of
wash, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Wash, yes, it would, yeah. Be the right colour as well.
You could dip them in Starbucks instead of going for army painter or something like that.
What a skeleton mocha. Yeah.
The skeleton bone mocha, please, indeed. That could be the one. Right, so you're forging ahead faster than you think, but you've got a 5-week window to see how much that effectiveness carries on with, and then a week to review the data, and then you'll decide if it's another army.
That's right. And we can always
Does that mean you're going to have to think about what's next a lot quicker than you thought? Have you got a 5-step process to take you through to June?
No, I've got a 1-step process. I look at the list on the side of my War Games cupboard and say what's next.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. But you're not...
Then I think, no, I can't be bothered doing that. I'll do something else.
You'll jump ahead of the queue, wouldn't you? Definitely. Well, look, jumping ahead of the queue as well. Mr. Saunders, you've still got somebody else's figures, I guess, in your painting queue. And what's going on there as you peer into your microscope almost and bite... Are you biting a brush there? Is someone about to undertake wargaming related surgery on you with a sprue clipping tool or something like that?
I'm going to clean it off if I'm going to talk, and
yeah, that might be an idea.
I'm just literally painting bandoliers, or the leather or whatever on the bandoliers, onto the Lisburn Regiment of the English and Welsh Centre Attack Regiments of the Battle of Auburn.
Okay, that's pretty specific. Did they have very unique bandoliers?
Well, and you're painting Jack, and you'll be painting Paul next, so you're getting that specific.
No. After that, I've got pre-prepared. I've got 2 more regiments ready to go, undercoated. Here you go, hold on. There you go.
Aha, right, that's good.
One's on another table. So that's going to be the Garde de Wood, the Dutch guard of foot.
I like your pronunciation there, because I think
Appreciate that.
Did you
I've
say the
got an
Battle of
inclination that-
Ockram, Dave?
Yeah, well, Simon sent me a little a YouTube film of the Battle of Ockram by the guys.
Ockram.
By the
It's pronounced
gentlemen from
Ockram.
the League of Ockram website, and they've done their little toy soldiers crossing the river.
right. Is it a very shallow river then?
Struggling across the river.
We learned about
Because-
the battle in school. The thing I remember was hearing the French commander got his head shot off by a cannonball.
He did. He lost his head to a cannonball completely, and then they all ran.
I'm lost here. I don't. Last time we were talking about the Battle of the Boyne, and now you've started inventing completely new words for battle. I'm not even sure what war it is, and then I'm even more puzzled.
It's the
that Andy
following
got
year,
taught-
and it's called the Battle of Ockram. It's spelled Aughrim, but it's pronounced Ockram. Trust me, I'm a lawyer. I studied the Irish language.
We'll
Hang
come
on.
back to this later.
I thought
there's
that
a
was
whole
whiskey.
there's a
Trust
whole
me,
depth
I'm a
of things.
lawyer.
Trust me, I'm a lawyer. I studied the Irish language. There's a lot going on in that sentence, Andy. None of
All
it
of it
particularly
true.
makes much sense.
Questions
Okay.
and answers, I suspect.
Right, so there's a battle that you're now doing particular figures for, then, Dave, and you're going down to. Is there a record of individual regiments then? in
Yeah.
this
So
battle?
anyway, so basically, the Battle of Ockram, and we're going to come back to pronunciation later, I think, is basically the Battle of the Boyne, exactly the same. It's impossible to tell one from the other, even down to the river and crossing the river and all this nonsense. But we know actually the regiments and even the colours they were. So this regiment I'm playing at the moment is sort of like a sort of steely blue, not pale blue, but a bit grey in there. So
Does that mean you ventured into paint mixing then, Dave, or have you just bought a different Vallejo?
I actually did I had to do some paint mixing for this regiment, although I'm a bit worried they've come out a bit too blue. But no. So most of them are sort of grey jackets with either red cuffs or yellow cuffs or red cuffs or blue cuffs. But,
If the person that's paying Dave to paint his army is listening, I would just like to say that the blue that Dave mixed is bang on to historical sources. It's perfect.
Isn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah.
We'll see. Because
You're not very good at this sales thing, are you, mate?
Well, it's all. I actually got the army painter mixing thing out, and I better be careful before I pour water all over the computer. I've got my army painter palette.
The wet palette.
And it's actually it's full of water for the first time in about, God knows, 4 months.
But surely there shouldn't be enough water in it that you could actually spill it. Isn't the whole point that it's soaked up into the mad weird sponge thing?
Well, I think it sort of floats on top of it.
You float the sponge. Right, we're going to call in the expert, Tamsin. How much water in a wet pallet? Enough to drain out? Is it soaked in? Is it?
No.
Oh, how much? You should be able to see water around the edge. Water around the edge of the sort of
The spongy thing.
like the spongy bit. But
So if you tipped it up, it would run out.
Water's going over on top of the membrane. You've got too much.
You've got too much. So a little. Oh, right. I need to have a quick butcher's at mine then, because I think mine is. I can see damp around, but I can't quite see actual water. Maybe that's gone. Maybe that needs some more work then, doesn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. We'll come back to that.
It's a bit of a top up.
But don't get
Right,
water
yeah.
on your membrane.
No, they're definitely not on the membrane. So, Dave, how close are you to finishing this army then?
I'd say I'm about 60% through it.
Okay. Is it the frilly cuffs that's taking time, or the bandoliers?
These figures don't have frilly cuffs really. They've got a cuff on the jacket, but no. I'm into my measure. I know how to do them now. I've got a pretty good system going with it. So
Did you do a test figure to start off with then?
Sort of, yeah. I did sort of test regiment and then sort of went, discussed it with my commission person.
Your client.
My client, exactly. Sent him some pictures and said, "What do you think so far?"
Did you have a Zoom call to discuss it, and did a screen share, things like that? Was it just
Did you do a
proper
colour
work?
palette with like little swatches as well?
And a mood board, possibly?
Well, no, actually, I've been given an Excel spreadsheet with all the regiments on it. and what colour their jackets, cuffs, and handkerchiefs are, and all that sort of thing.
So are you actually developing an interest in this war then now, or has it just been a...
It's rather difficult not to. As I say, the YouTube movie from the League of Bahrain is very good and recommend it. It's quite good, especially with the little soldiers trying to cross the river and they're in the river, and so I really recommend that.
Okay.
That would fit into your Renaissance rule, Simon, wouldn't it? The League of Augsburg.
Oh yeah, I may have an army for that period.
It's entirely
I am
possible.
so surprised.
Yeah, it's Ottomans with Swedish allies, is it, or something like that? Yeah, that could be the one. All right. Okay.
The armies in Ireland weren't that big.
I'm not sure the Ottomans were that big. I suppose the armies were big, but the people were not big. No, that's gone into a hole, hasn't it? We'll stop that one. But look, we had a brief bit of Tamsin education there. So, Tamsin, you're now 2-3 weeks into unpacking stuff or re-unpacking stuff temporarily, or doing it in some way. And then there were some 28mm paratroopers that were threatened. I think we saw the pictures of them, or the undeblistered pictures, possibly, before they've been deblistered. But the 6mm stuff was still chugging along. So
yeah, the 6mm stuff was still chugging along, and
right.
Yes, again, I managed to keep distracting myself away from painting.
Yeah.
But I have got the flesh and the hair done on all 105 of those cavalry. So
now that's interesting, because you're mentioning the word 105 there, which possibly means you are in American Civil War painting dip. At which point, there's a point when you're painting American Civil War, you just go, how bloody many of these things are there, and they're all about the same. I think, Adam, do you remember when we both did those huge 10mm armies? And it's just, there's a point at which you lose the will to live until you cresting that hill is quite difficult.
I remember getting very excited at one point because I did some zouaves, and I got some red out rather than sort of like the blue or the grey, or I've never been quite sure what shade colour butternut is, but I've always gone for sort of like pale browny thing. It gets a bit boring, doesn't it?
Vague brown.
So,
brown. It's a really good paint. Really
vague brown. All right. So Tamsin, where's your head at then? With are you starting to hate them as much as the Union did, or
No. It's just that it's been more a case that I've been distracted because books I want to finish so I can get on to read other ones. So I've been distracting myself reading rather than actually painting.
Wow, okay. So you need to finish a book in order to... So how many books do you have on the go at any one time? Because I suspect I might have about 4.
I've got 3.
3, okay, that's a reasonable number. In fact, maybe a quick round we might have a quick round thing. How many books do people have on the go at any one time? 2, 1, 4 for Peter.
I've got
Dave?
really disciplined, and I'm down to 2 or 3.
2 or 3.
It's about 5 or 6 if I include work, unfortunately.
It's war game specific, probably 4 or 5 at one time.
Yeah.
I try and limit it to 2. Don't always succeed.
Because she told us they'll get the 3. But that's good. So you're still chewing through your... Have you found any more interesting stuff about roadside maintenance from airborne paratroopers in Malaya? Is there even a more niche book than last time? Nothing else?
No.
I was watching Pacific War in colour, though, at the weekend, Tamsin. You've got to try and check that out. There's some great pictures for it.
Channel's that on?
PBS.
It was on Smithsonian Channel.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can see it on YouTube, but it was great pictures. It was seeing some of the ones later on.
Tamsin, there was a film on Talking Pictures TV. And it's repeated later this week. It's called The Glory is...
Theirs is the glory. Yeah, I've seen that.
That's Arnhem. The actual Battle of Arnhem, refought in 1946 by the people who actually fought it.
Yeah.
And there's
Some of them, yeah.
tanks and tiger tanks and all sorts of things rolling around the streets with all the paras who are at Arnhem playing themselves.
Well, not all of them.
Not all of them, no. No, clearly not. No.
A good selection of them, yeah.
I wonder who played the other side. They probably didn't get those people back, did they? I imagine. They're probably not too welcome in the Arnhem area in 1946. Okay, so it's been reading, but you've just been, when you've been doing flesh, are you telling us that in 6mm, are you doing the face as a blob, or are you doing actual faces?
Blob.
Blob, good. Thank the Lord
goodness
for
for
that.
It's a apply for flesh. It will get brought. It will get some sort of shading when I do the wash at the end.
But you just
is
leave
for a
that
particular
to
rule
wash.
set, Tamsin?
No particular rule set. I was doing them up originally for Polemus rules from Bacchus. Based of that.
Okay.
Let's just tell
Yeah, I
you,
think
what on earth would you want 105 Union cavalry for? That seems like an awful big number.
Well, because I was thinking that as a scenario, I might do Brandy Station, but
Yeah. Depends if you're going to pop down to Richmond at any point, I guess, really, on the district line.
There is
there's a Union coverage you want.
There's an Osprey book on Brandy Station written by a friend of mine called Dan Beatty, and he actually showed me around the battlefield.
yeah, I think I might have that one actually. Yeah.
It's one of the 6 you're reading at this point in time.
No.
No. Oh, it's been read before.
Well, not I've read,
Okay.
read years ago. Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. So it's been facial blobs and then plenty of reading. Then okay.
This means war. This means war.
Well, let's carry on going around. I think Peter, I saw you and your still slightly weird winged hussar hair staring back, and you were waving a winged hussar at me, I believe, earlier on, or to all of us somewhere on the screen.
I've had a bit of a busy week with boring work stuff, so I finally got onto the fun winged hussars, and I'm quite enjoying looking at some of the figures, especially the musketeers that you guys recommended, which that propping up their musket with an axe, which I find quite amusing. I think I'd like to get one of those in 28mm just painted up. It just looks pretty cool. I'll rest my musket on a great big axe with a great big axe head. Yeah, that looks pretty good.
That would be a pretty good great commander, actually, wouldn't it? One of those.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some nice figures out there with that.
Yeah, so I've got what probably will end up being an army, but I just thought I'd try them out because they just looked a bit fun to paint, something a bit different. But so
how have you found
them
sticking the actual wings on? Because that was the big challenge, wasn't it? Would they actually hang on, or?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to actually have a play with that. I was wanting to, but I was just trying to get a open period where I've just got time, because it's one of those things I just want to get in and sort of be able to faff about with it without being interrupted by something for a couple of hours. Okay. So hopefully I might get a chance tomorrow. I've actually got a day off, so I'll happily ensconce myself in just messing around painting up little soldiers.
So your week's really just been unpacking stuff then, and sneaking it past the border guards to see what.
Yes. Well, the border guards from Essex, yeah,
yeah.
The Essex border guards. So yeah, it's just unpacking, having a look at it, sorting out a couple of other projects that I was thinking about, because a few of you mentioned about the MTV boats for the what was the flotilla one we were talking about?
There's been a bit of chat on the club group about doing some stuff about that, hasn't there? I think somebody had bought too much of it by accident. Yeah,
Cruel Seas, that's it. Because I was going and having a look at that. It's a typical case. You've got too many little projects, and I've got to actually just finish off a couple. So I made the mistake of having a look at that, and that wasted an hour just going, "Oh, I've got lots of little boats I can play with." I've just got to actually work out.
Yeah.
I've already got them. I've got these.
Yeah.
It's just, just squaring stuff away. I think when it opens up and it's a bit nicer, being able to sit in the garden, take a break from everything else, and paint up there would be pretty good. But
I think the problem is by the time you get to
sit,
by the time the weather improves to get to sit in the garden, 5 other people will be allowed to come and sit with you, won't they? So it won't quite be
I won't
they just won't. They're just not going to be done. There'll still be a little COVID area around your house. You'll say, no, this one doesn't work, bugger off.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. But it's just relaxing, taking a break, doing these, have a go at them. I quite like painting up the horses, and these are the Essex ones. Look at the horses; they're actually quite quite good for Essex. Sometimes the Essex ones I find can be a bit chunky, but these look quite nice.
I found with
I
Essex,
think
the stands of the horses are too
Polish
thin.
horses. Their Polish horses have got quite a lot of the right, almost unique sort of horse furniture and stuff on, haven't they? Cloth.
Yeah, they look quite nice, quite detailed. You can see how. I'm looking forward to seeing how they take the paint. I know you did one, didn't you, Tim? And sent me the picture.
Yeah,
they look quite
I've
nice.
done a
But
couple.
how did you put the wings on then? Any tips?
It's my
Gorilla
Gorilla
Glue?
Glue seems to have started working again, so I can't really give you a different answer to that. I've been gluing stuff on with Gorilla Glue all day, and it's all still there. It stuck straight away. So yeah, Gorilla Glue would still be my recommendation. But
Fantastic.
It's a
I've got
long
lots of that.
time ago since I did those Cesars, I think. Dave's waving Gorilla Glue at us as well. Maybe we can have a show and tell with Gorilla Glue. But look, carrying on round.
What's your favourite
Adam-
Gorilla Glue?
Yes, indeed. Adam, you're feverishly head down, focusing on, I'm guessing, Dacians, or whatever, as Dave pulls a face in the corner at my double pronunciation. So how are they nearly done? And did you crack and start the second parallel project of the medievals? Did you find the other box of medievals that you didn't know you had?
No, I didn't. I didn't have a box of mercenaries. I just had the two mounted. So it's on the plus side. I'm going to put an order soon in Toyment that I can just pop and pick up, which is really handy, not having to pay postage and packaging. Which because when you guys talk about how there's a sale on, especially for things like that, sell that anything in Toyment sells. It's like I've got to figure out whether it's worth getting a sale and paying the packaging, because that always adds a good few quid onto it. So that's quite handy. But no, just been going with the Dacians. Fourth batch is nearly done. I'm just doing the odds and ends, and all I've got left to do now is second, third, and fourth batches. I've got to put the shield transfers on because I was waiting until I got my microset and microsol, which I've now got.
It's arrived. Yeah.
Yeah, which is good. So once the fourth batch is done, I'm going to have a shield party. And then I've got to base up the second, third, and fourth batches. And I quite enjoy basing figures because psychologically it's like, yes, this is nearly done. This is really, done. Really good. And after that, all I've got left is the 4 horsemen to do that you sent me.
Yeah.
I might stick them together this evening, depending on time. And I was a bit worried that they would look like armoured Gallic figures, but I'm going to put some Dacian heads on with those, like, obviously Dacian hats, and give them oval shields the same as all the foot have got. And I think they'll look convincingly part of the army, which is cool. And then I've just got to do the baggage, and I've got a Roman wine amphorae wagon ordered, which I'm waiting to come from war bases, because I thought that would make a good baggage, because if you can invade the Roman Empire, you might as well go for the best things in it. When I was younger, that would have definitely been wine. Now I'm thinking, underfloor heating would be better, but you can't really throw that in the back of a wagon.
No. Yeah, and bathing options or something like that. Yeah.
Garum, fish paste.
Yeah, no, I think I'll stick with the wine. I'm hoping. I'm hoping that Sorry,
white wine. The Romans drank white wine.
I don't care.
Valerian was the best.
I'm not sure you'll be able to see it in 25 ml, will you? What the difference is if it's in a barrel, unless there's a difference or something.
It's So I'm hoping that within 2 weeks I'll be finished. Maybe 3. I'm probably thinking 3, but. Day-night test in India starts on Wednesday, so that starts at 9. So that might be a good few days of me just watching that and getting painting done. Right. So it might be only 2, but I've been considering another purchase, which is I'm thinking I can't justify this, but I want it because when I bought the microset and microsol, I think I bought it. It was either Amazon or eBay or one of those sites that will steal your data while they sell your stuff, and I think it came from a shop on the Isle of Wight, a model shop on the Isle of Wight, which is fine, and they put a leaflet in for other stuff, and one of the things that they sell is a little device.
I'm already interested. I don't even know what it is. I'm already interested.
It shakes your paint pots for you.
Oh.
I'm thinking I could shake them for myself, thanks. But then I think I've got some paint pots that are so old that they've never been used, so they're kind of full and they've sort of separated. So it'll take a huge amount of shaking to actually get them back, because when you shake them and they're full, there's no real movement because there's no ball bearing it there. So it's a little thing that you strap the container, the bottle in or the pot in, press the button, and it just keeps shaking it. It can go for hours.
Why don't you just tape it to the washing machine?
Adam, you can buy them a lot cheaper. If you look on Amazon, eBay, anywhere, nail varnish shakers.
Okay,
That's
makes sense.
exactly what they are. They've just been rebadged.
Actually, Tamsin, I think it depends what kind of shop he bought the other stuff from. He may actually be looking at nail varnish shakers, possibly. But yeah, I think I have heard the nail varnish thing. But so, Adam, do you not have a small bag of ball bearings to drop into your paint pots anyway?
No. Why would I have a small bag of? It's like
what? You don't have that, really? Come on, everybody, wave your ball bearings at Adam. It's a thing that you can order from China on eBay for like pennies. They arrive months later, and you drop them into each paint pot.
Yeah, considering that.
Varnish. Yeah,
considering that. But now I'm thinking, nail varnish shaker. I mean, it's just like, because it reminds me of sort of like, do you know those films where there's a plague that's going to wipe out the world? I don't know where them ideas come from. And they're in a scientific lab, and they've got sort of like a special thing, and they put it in the machine and press a button, and it shakes it all up. So it seems scientific almost. You know what I mean? This is science. So I can almost not buy it really. So
does it come in like a camo color scheme rather than a nail varnish shaker sort of color scheme, or?
I haven't looked that far yet. I don't know. I just know it's Shakespeare paint pots for me, which is it's I'm just talking myself into buying one basically, because I
think you're talking all of us into buying them. I think nobody else is actually looking at the screen now. They all look like they're looking on eBay as we speak. There's like 6 other people looking at eBay now. That's remarkable. One thing in your microset and microsole, other than my advice from a couple of weeks ago to draw on the side of them which one's which. Or whatever. The other thing I discovered... there we go. Oh, Tamsin's showing us a paint pot shaking machine. Possibly it's going to get plugged in and we could actually have the audio from it. That could become a new theme tune. Maybe we could all do them in sync or something like that. There could be like a
little buzzing sound in the background.
The little buzzing sound in the background orchestra or something like that.
Just making sure you're not driving through Harrow when Dave's got it on.
The nail polish shaker ones, actually better if you pay if you go the amount that you'd pay for that model shop one, you can get a fairly cheap Vortex mixer.
A Vortex? What is that? I don't know what it does, but
what you see in the science labs.
Sounds like something out of Doctor Who, doesn't it?
Do you fasten it to your bench with your sonic screwdriver?
No, you don't need. You don't even need to screw it down on the bench. Stabilised. It just oscillates around.
I want to stabilise Vortex Mixer.
You've got a cup. There's a cup which oscillates on a spindle by several thousand RPM, and it will.
What? Several thousand RPM.
Several thousand, yeah.
A self-stabilised
will mix your paints.
A self-stabilised Vortex Mixer is just yes, that's a definite, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just to say the words out loud. Although I want it iron powered.
Yeah.
Whatever, I don't know. Or maybe nuclear fission powered.
Strictly speaking,
something like salad dressing?
Electricity, it's iron powered.
Oh, right, brilliant. There you go then. An iron powered self-stabilised Vortex Mixer.
I'd be tempted to try and attach that to my car in some way, shape or form. Coming down the M3, it'd be fantastic. You just put it into the...
Just take out the engine, mate.
Oh, you can get mini ones of them as well.
What, a mini Vortex Mixer?
Yeah. A mini Vortex Mixer.
How much is a mini Vortex? How much is a mini Vortex Mixer?
£100.
Oh, you can get them a lot cheaper than that.
I would hope so, yeah, because me spending £1.30 to get...
I found a lab
one.
Oh, it's the centrifugal ones. Oh, I've seen these before.
Yeah,
but I've seen the bigger ones in work. They are massive.
Can you just nick one from work?
Yeah.
Or take your painting to work?
Because I was thinking...
a bit funny with that somehow.
after getting grief last week for paying 35p to replace the plastic lids on nearly dead paints, Peter, I'm not really sure you paying over £100 to shake paint is.
No,
is
but
really,
Work's got them.
Work's got it's got too many at the moment, hasn't it? Maybe it'll have less.
Oh yeah, they'll be a bit in use at the moment. Yeah,
And it is a Vortex Mixer, and I bet it will be self-stabilised for that price.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you could get the whole of my Vallejo paints in one of theirs. They do great big racks of them.
Right. Yeah. Just
I mean, and
is it
Because if you do
Vallejo
your
or is it Vallejo?
photocopy,
No.
if you do
Yeah,
your
it's the
photocopying
Spanish
work,
one.
you're stealing the paper and the ink. But if you just take your paints in to use a Vortex Mixer, you're not really stealing anything. You're just using it during lunchtime, aren't you?
You're just using the vortex.
Yeah, just shift off the stuff that have left going on there. Yeah, I'll move it out of the way. A
Yeah.
bit like you moving someone's drying out at student halls. You know, it's
Yeah.
all right. It'll be fine.
Could I borrow your vortex mixer just for a little bit?
Yeah,
of time?
honest, Gov. I'll be done in a minute.
I'll be done in a minute. Okay, so mixing the vortex then, Adam. You're whatever you thought you were going to buy, you're absolutely not, and we now expect a vortex mixer, which you will pay package and postage for, and we will all chip in if it makes it get there quicker.
Well, I might see if Employment stocks them.
Yeah, excuse. Yeah, I think if you ask him, do you stock any vortex mixers, you might get a punch in the face. Possibly.
Vortex
Someone might
mixer.
think you've become one of the two.
It just fits a paint pot in. I just looked online. You can just fit one at a time. I think by the time you finish faffing about, you could just sit there and shake the bleeding thing.
Maybe we should get one between us and just sort of post it around.
I can't do a thing with it.
Ask Beads.
Ask Pete, that could be it. Right. So Adam, going back to where on earth we were. So you are now thinking about buying a vortex mixer to do your paint, and the Dacian
Not for
stations
£100
not for £100 The Dacian stations are within touching distance of being finished, which is lovely, and you're going to put some different heads on those Gallic people, which is decent as well.
Means war.
I guess I'll kind of chip in. So those, I think hopefully this week, because it does look like finally good weather's coming, I will get those hacked together Thracian, Dacian, Hoplite, Peltas guys put together and get half a dozen of them undercoated for an experiment. I've learnt something very useful from Microsol. Microset is really, really, really pungent. It's got a real kind of acetone, smell. Particularly, it comes in a very unhelpfully tall and narrow bottle, which is perfectly designed to fall over. So my recommendation for you is, first of all, write on the side of it whether it's the one that goes on first or second, because you will never remember. And secondly, glue the damn bottle to a base so it's harder to fall over, because it's still, if you do accidentally happen to spill any, you get the really pungent smell in your room for about 3 days, which is...
How did you learn this, Tim?
Well, I'm about 2 days into this experiment so far, and if I start kind of my eyes rolling back in my head a bit later on the Zoom call, you'll know that I've not got enough ventilation in this room. But and that's from only spilling about a third of it, which is probably 8 to 15 years supply, about the amount you actually put on doing it. So yeah, I've been doing a bit of Microsol and Microset with the Hoplite self-made transfers for the Hoplites from all the Pinterest stuff that got printed out, and I was pleased because when I printed these out, I left them to dry for a long time, and then I only gave them one coat of matte varnish. And a lot of the online things say give them 2 or 3 coats of matte varnish before you cut the transfers out and put them in water, which I guess sort of makes sense. But one, I did a few tests because my previous lot that I'd done 3 coats of varnish still struggled to kind of fold over the shields, but with one coat they've still got a bit of flexibility left, so they flatten up really nicely, and sadly they were definitely nice enough that I am now going to redo all of my or enough Hoplites to do a sort of 18 base thing from my very badly painted when I was about 22. set of hoplite shields, which were just a bit crap, really. So I've been doing those. I finished 3 dozen Swiss pikemen, 2 lots. Simon, I think that was our dodgy handoff. One of our dodgy handoff deals. The 2 units of QRF and the 1 unit of much harder to drill Donington ones. That drilling their hands through for the for where the pikes go on those Donington ones is pretty tricky, particularly on some of the sculpts where the hands are really close to the body. But those ones that have got holes drilled through the whole men are sort of somewhere in the back of the keel now. I think the Donington ones are a little bit bigger, but not too much. And then I still really do like the QRF ones, cheap as they are with their 45-degree pikes. And I did all of those in a sort of red and white only Swiss style, just to make them a bit simpler and kind of blackline those. I've got a couple of bases of the Legio Heroica Sassanid Cavalry, which are nearly done. They just need a bit of dry brushing on the bases and some other stuff being done to them as well. And then I did a big bio strip job on all those Merliton figures, which, Simon, you're right. Once they've been bio stripped, they look like they've been kind of black ink washed for a proper photography. So there's still some little bits in it, but and I'm still toying. I think I'm going to spray them white rather than black as undercoat, because I just want them to be a bit brighter than they were first time I did them, and the paint came off them so well. I've actually decided to go and bio strip the whole set, the other ones that I had as well. So there's a few more who are sat kind of in a water bath waiting for their bases to dissolve, so I can kind of peel them off the bases a bit much. And then I'm also on to my second tin now of Big Smoke Brew Company. We've not talked about booze for a while, have we? So I'm back on a local-ish brewer called Big Smoke to support the local economy now that we're within touching distance of going back to pubs. So this one's a Citra single hop IPA pale, which is very nice. That's it. But yeah, it's been distraction pieces. So I've got lots and lots of not particularly well painted hoplites that I've painted all of the shields white now. I've taken off all the crappy spears that I had before, the sort of Essex Spaghetti, and I've taken a load of bristles off the broom and clipped all those down, and I'm gluing them systematically with Gorilla Glue onto slightly rebent arms Essex spearmen, because the Essex ones have kind of got this sort of thrusting over the shield thing, which just looks a bit odd if there's a lot of them. So I bent all the arms to do them all pretty vertical to do those. I've made a bit of a start on a unit of 10mm French guardsmen that done some hats and a bit of things. They should be done quite quickly, really. And I'm really just putting off doing the German camo on my 10mm tanks, because I know it's just one thing that I'm going to have to be all in on and just finish it off. I've done the green stripes on most of them, but I've got to do the brown and some of the green, and then the wheels and things like that. And it's kind of I don't know, it feels like I've got more interesting stuff to do than that.
I quite enjoyed doing the German. Where I did some German tanks for Flames of War, and I quite enjoyed it. I had a whole bunch of Panzer IVs and Panthers and such like. And once you get into the flow of it, I must admit I had to do them as a batch, because otherwise you can get off track and everything else, and then coming back to it. But it was like the family went away for a week, and I just had it as a production line. I just got it as a bunch of kits, made them up, and it's just kept me busy for the week.
No, I must admit I do want to do it, and I know that I'll enjoy doing it, but I'm kind of getting put off by distraction things. It's almost like, I think, Adam, you were saying about the basing is kind of a win. In fact, actually, I rebased as well some medieval dismounted knights, early medieval knights. But doing these hoplites seems like a really easy win. And because I've because I've tried the shield transfers and it's a new experiment, I feel like I'm achieving an awful lot for not much effort with a completely new technique of downloading and printing stuff.
It's weird, you guys, saying you like basing because it's finishing off. I find basing annoying. I always manage to get my hands stuck with all the flock and everything else, and I'm just like going, I've painted this stuff, it's all looking good, and then I'm trying not to get the flock over everything and get the paint, get the glue over everything else, and it's just like I just find it irritating. I find it absolutely irritating.
I think the secret I found.
Something.
Oh, sorry, Dave.
Years to learn how to base, and when you actually get a style and a system which works and you're pleased with, it's such a great relief when you sort of see what crap you've seen in the past, and you actually get to somewhere you actually think, by Jove, I've got it. That it actually becomes a really pleasant thing to do, I think.
Yeah, it's the amount of work you're doing for the improvement in the figures that it delivers. It's really kind of got a lot of bang for buck on that one, which I suppose is the same thing why I'm enjoying upgrading these hoplites so much, because it's sort of some troops that I've had for 20 plus years that I've always gone, they're not really good enough, and then to suddenly find a way of fixing them and pinging them up. Same with rebasing my Normans and rebasing my Vikings. It's like, those are really good figures, but the basing's not doing them justice. So I can rebase them, reformat them, tidy them up a bit, and feel like I've got a whole new army without actually having to paint one.
Talking of ropey old figures, have you still got those hoplites that had quartered blue and white and red and white shields?
Oh, those no, they weren't hoplites. They were sort of hoplites. They were the Carthaginian ones, which was just really old ropey. But no, I bought LBMS transfers for those a few years ago and painted them all out. So they've got like proper red and white LBMS stuff on them, sadly. But yeah, how many of those have I got? 12 bases, which is way too many, or 16 or something like that. So yeah, but it's just that chance to improve people quite a lot and do it. And then I probably, as Andy said, I do need to, once I've got all the undercoating done, I might have another horse blitz, with that horse painting technique that I did, because I've really found doing horses in big batches was a good way to do it. So I've got some Ottoman horse, I've got some Thracian horse, I've got some other different types of horse, I've got some 10mm horse, in all some stuff that will all get sprayed white in the next couple of weeks. So I might just say, look, I'm going to force myself to do the horses first across all of this range of figures, different scales, different eras, things like that, and just have a horse blitz and crack on with that.
This means war.
But again, we'll soon be able to meet and do handovers in the park, and my park handover buddy, Mr. Leroy Mayer, up in the top left-hand corner. So what's been your week then?
You'll need to sit down. I've painted a lot of figures this weekend. 2 bases of medium cavalry.
Is that it, my lord? What's happened?
I was one of those weeks at work where you finish work about 3 a.m. every day, and you think, I really don't need or don't have brain space to paint. So I could paint on the weekend with a couple of bases of medium cavalry, and that's it. Big achievement, 6 figures.
And which army were they for?
This is for the Ottoman Turks. So this is finishing the. I've now done all the medium cavalry, so all I've got left is a bit of the chaff. Levy foot, and that's the army done.
Wow, the full set. Okay.
So Simon, having learnt from your pronunciation of the Turkish language last week, are they your syphilis cavalry?
No, these are the gonorrhea cavalry.
Oh, sounds painful. I was watching, there's a thing on Netflix on the Rise of the Ottomans, and I just watched the last one today where they went and took Constantinople, and we're all steaming in. It's not a bad little thing.
Okay,
So
what's
on
it called?
Netflix, what's it called? Yeah.
Rise of the Ottomans.
Oh.
So it's a real technical name,
Losing a name.
Yeah.
Do you reckon it would be suitable for? Would it hold the attention of children, or is it more a boring grown-up thing?
It's got sort of like part live action, then partly a couple of geezers standing around talking around it. I wrote a book on this. Whoa, it sold this. But it's not too bad. They go back and forth. There's a couple of things like that on Netflix. If you look at it, some of them are better than others. But that was all right. Learned a couple of new things.
Okay.
Don't leave the door open.
Yeah. Rise of Empire, Ottoman. There you go. It's got 15 rating.
It's got 15 ratings or a 15 rating?
Age.
Oh, right, age. Okay.
Rude words or BBs? For the 15, is that rude words? Or why has it got a 15 rating?
I don't know. People getting chopped up and killed, I expect.
Because the
Right,
Hungarian
Google's
artillery, the bastard Hungarian artillery blowing a hole and blowing people's heads off.
Yeah, it blows people apart, doesn't it?
That kind of thing usually puts it into a 15 rating. I know we're wargamers and we go, don't worry about it. But, seeing it in a live action with people running around, that usually gets things a 15 rating, funnily enough.
Yeah, that gets them pushed away. Okay. So very little's kind of gone on painting-wise for you. So does that mean there's sort of some latent painting demand that's been building up in the background, or are you suddenly going to be becalmed once these Ottomans get finished?
No, I'm sure I can find some other figures to paint. I've got the Alexander the Great army that I bought from Museum Miniatures. It's the next one. So once I finish the Ottoman Turks, I'll then do this Greek army with the hoplites and the lots more pikemen, because I do love pike.
Yeah.
So that'll keep me busy till probably mid-March. Then it might be a
That's 15 mil, Simon.
15 mil, yeah.
Because you've already got the 28 mil Alexander, haven't you?
No, I've got 28 mil Chinese and yes to all medievals.
Yeah.
Because once you start with medievals, you just start adding more, and all of a sudden you can do all of Western Europe.
I mean, that once Alexander gets to India, he gets to use elephants.
Well, I've gone from the other side, so I've got Yuan Chinese and Chinese armies with chariots and all that. We went westwards and found elephants that way, and southwards. So yeah,
I quite enjoyed painting up Alexander army. I quite enjoyed it. Put it all together and everything else. It's just stabbing myself and all the pikes and that was a pain. But apart from that, it was quite enjoyable to paint.
Broom bristles, that is the secret. Or possibly you could just glue your hair together and do that. Yeah.
It's quite a good one for competitions as well, the Alexander army, because you can morph it into a few things. So you can have two or three variations. I know Dave played it a few times and had good effect with it, but I've seen a number of different variations, people trying to do the big strong cavalry wing, or the mixture of different pikes, or then there's the medium foot that's pretty good for going through the terrain and that, isn't there?
And then you get a good screen of supporting Siloi as well, that you can stick in front of the army to protect them. Sorry, Dave.
Isn't there a couple of elite ones?
Dave's looking evils at me there, isn't he?
Simon will love his Indian ally.
Yeah,
got to have his elephants.
Well. That's true. Good. Well, look, that looks like the painting roundup done for this week.
This means war.
So look, that's the painting roundup, and seamlessly that means that we're probably moving into one of our increasingly popular, as in I've not had any request to stop doing it after 2 weeks, features from all of our many listeners, and it's now time for the return of I'm Sorry, I Think You're an Arse. Coming up next on Madaxeman Radio, it's I'm Sorry, I Think You're an Arse, the antidote to informed discussion shows. At the piano this week is Scott Joplin, and your chairman is Sir Humphrey Humphreyson. Hello and welcome everybody to this week's edition of I'm Sorry, I Think You're an Arse. You join us this week from the Magic Lantern Assembly Hall just outside the village of Ugly in Essex, famed for its world-renowned Women's Institute. Located in the east of England, visitors can climb to the top of a nearby church spire where they'll be greeted with a view encompassing 7 different counties. On a clear day, it's sometimes even possible to catch sight of Norwich off in the distance, despite the many prominent warning signs advising against this. We're here, as we say, in this wonderful venue for the latest episode of I'm Sorry, I Think You're Nasty. I'm going to hand straight over to Mr. Saunders in his northwest London bunker there, who has already become a little bit irate on a couple of occasions in the Zoom window throughout the discussion in the painting bit. And Dave, what's been bugging you? What do you want to change in the world of wargaming? What is it? What's getting to you? What's your position?
Well, it's pronunciation of historical names. This is something.
Pronunciation.
Yeah, exactly. Pronunciation. What did I just say? Anyway, pronunciation of things in ancient history. So the thing which started me off is I studied Byzantine history at UCL many years ago, and I've noticed in all the things that I watch on telly, it's suddenly become Byzantine. And I'm sitting there going, Byzantine? No, Byzantine. In fact, I found this on YouTube. It's going to play.
This is a video about how to pronounce Byzantine.
It's a video on YouTube of how to... Oh, here you go.
Byzantium.
It's Byzantium. And then it's like there's one of Byzantine. Here we go.
You're watching YouTube videos about one word.
Byzantine.
Yeah, Byzantine.
Dave just needs to get out more.
Further research. I did some further research, and that's the American pronunciation of Byzantine is Byzantine or Byzantium or whatever they want to call it. But
I thought Byzantine was an Ottoman version of Ovaltine.
Yeah, that led me on to some
We are Byzantines.
Yeah, Byzantines. Yeah, exactly.
But what did they call themselves, Dave?
Romans.
Romans. Exactly.
Romans. So they didn't even call themselves Bizzies.
They didn't actually. They actually called themselves Romanioi because they were Greek. And they were
so
Greek.
So even Byzantine, you've got to say it with a Greek accent.
Yeah, but then actually, it's actually spelt with a V for victory as well, which is even weirder. It gets even more complicated. But that's
so it's actually Byzantine.
Moving on from Byzantine or Byzantine, as I prefer to call it, that led me to think about what, when I sit down in the past at war games competitions and my opponent says, I'm just deploying my hoplites. I'm sitting there murdering my best hoplites. And this goes on for 2.5 hours. Yeah, the hoplites are moving forward. And I go, yeah, hoplites. The hoplites are doing this. And I thought, well, actually, what is that going? Because, there's also velites. People going velites. I'm going, what the fuck is a fucking velite?
It's those little guys with the wolf skins and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're velites.
Oh, come on.
But then I'll go,
Wingardium Leviosa.
No, that creates problems, you see, because if they're velites, why is a hoplites a hoplite?
Well, what's the light ones that go with the Alexander army again? The silly ones?
Which ones are in that then?
What's the light infantry that goes with the Alexander army?
The Cretans.
Agrianians or Agrian.
And what was it? Silois.
No, that's my. I've actually got me a little list. Because that's the one which is like, I go Siloi, but I learned Siloi as a teenager playing war games. I'd never heard of it, and then there's people who go, well, that's Siloi. I go, I'm actually thinking I don't like Siloi against Siloi, but actually Siloi is correct because it's psychiatry and it's probably Greek pronunciation. There probably should be Siloi.
No, but velites can't be right. It must be velites.
They're not velites.
No, it should be wellites.
Yeah, well, that's,
wellites.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
wellites.
That's where the phrase comes from. Give them some welly. Yeah.
But
isn't this a case that the Romans just had rubbish pronunciation that sounded a bit embarrassing, and it's taken 2,000 years for us to correct it?
Only a very small minority of Romans, even in the city of Rome, would actually have spoken pure Latin.
Yeah, they were all German, weren't they? German and Spanish, the legionaries.
Only your upper class, your upper classes would have.
Patricians?
So basically, you're just arguing that have all butchered the word, then, Dave.
Well, exactly. But then this is actually gone on further because it's actually become a bit of a bugbear. Adam sent Dacians after the bloody car from Romania or wherever it's from, and they're Dacians. Because every time he goes Dacian, I sit here murmuring under my breath, Dacian, Dacian.
Do you really?
Dacian.
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 And then it's got worse because I was watching some woman on TV the other night who was talking about Crete, and there was some American guy on there. Right, I've got to think about this. So they're Minoans to me from Crete, and he was going Minoan. Okay, well that's kind of correct because it's Minos, King Minos, so they might be Minoan, but they've always been Minoan. Then that's not actually what they call themselves, and that's completely made up in the first place.
What?
I don't think they can call themselves anything. They're all dead, aren't they?
The Minoans never existed, and I'm sitting here in my little brain, my little bunker, avoiding COVID, thinking, is it Minoan or Minoan? And they weren't even Minoan in the first place.
They're Mycenaeans, weren't they? Or Mycenaeans?
No, that's much later. Well, they wouldn't call themselves Mycenaean anyway. They're just, that's Mycenae.
Mycenae. They weren't
Ladies and
Mycenaeans.
gentlemen, we have a clear example of the mental impact of 12 months of lockdown and isolation had on a wargamer. Exhibit A.
Oplites is the one which really annoys me. That's the one where I sit across from my opponent going, Oplite. He goes,
what should it be then, Dave?
Hoplite. The hoplites are moving forward. Hoplites. Hoplites.
But surely in a lot
Maybe
of these
he's got-
competitions,
maybe his figures are actually anthropomorphic rabbits.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure there's someone makes those definitely. But aren't you just grateful that they're not morphing crappy Carthaginian spearmen or Essex ancient Britons, and you're just happy that they look like hoplites or hoplites anyway, and this isn't such a big deal because because all these are very, very dead languages, aren't they, really? And surely nobody really cares what we say, and the only way we're ever going to really find out the proper way of doing it is if anyone can phone up Phil Barker and ask him what he was thinking when he actually decided that Siloi was actually a troop class and not just a random Greek word that he's plucked out of nowhere. And labelled that now the whole world of wargaming uses for light infantry.
It also assumes that all the people in one empire spoke with the same accent, and that's probably not true.
This is a discussion about how people themselves pronounce these words. This is a discussion about the correct way to pronounce the words in English.
You missed my point. The Roman upper classes, the patrician classes, were the only ones who actually spoke Latin. And they spoke it in a very, very pure, well, this is what we estimate or we consider because we don't actually know. But they were the ones who said in pictura est puella, because it's like received pronunciation in the British Empire. Talking with a perfect accent was seen to be superior and perfect, you see.
Are you saying that form of speaking Latin in a really, really clear English received pronunciation accent is incorrect then?
No, it's
certainly. Because certainly when I learnt it at school, it was there was some sort of tape thing, and it was like Caecilius est in horto, and it was very, very English received pronunciation. Home counties, that was kind of an inevitable part of it.
Yeah, well, Latin only evolves in the medieval period where you get the C's become shorter and it becomes more like Italian. So you get the So, I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Who the hell knows? I mean, I'm just confused by this, but I just can't stand hoplites.
Does this really, for a whole weekend away, we all pile in my car, we drive up to Burton-on-Trent or God knows where, we have a curry, we play like 3 games of soldiers, 5 games of soldiers against random other people, we have a couple of beers, there's probably a Scotch egg involved. Is your weekend actually ruined by the word hoplites or from some kind of northern wargamer across the table, or do you not think that they're sat there going, "Gore blimey, these London geezers with their way of mispronouncing our local pints and stuff like that"?
They come up
What's
here
going on
with
with
that received Latin pronunciation.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe there's a northern dialect of how to pronounce Latin as well. That could be the answer.
I'm actually going to jump in and make a point here. The H is actually silent.
No, that's the South London way, isn't it? Oplite. All right, geezer. I'm not going south of the river in a chariot this time of night.
See, that goes back to 1066, and the French coming over here to run our country.
There weren't Oplites in 1066, mate.
That's why the upper classes in this country all go hotel, because they all consider themselves to be descendants of the French invaders in 1066. So the silent H, and that's why the letter H is spelled, the word for the letter H is spelled AITCA.
So that's like a French class war thing from 1066. Relates back to how hoplites is mispronounced.
Allegedly, people who say, who give it the full, what's the word?
Phonetic?
No, I don't know what's the word with an H here?
Pronunciation?
What?
Helicopter?
Hieroglyphics?
No, this?
Harold?
Sound.
Yeah,
means.
People used to say hospital. I don't know.
Hospital.
Hospital.
So did William the Conqueror then say, Harold, I'm going to have you?
The hard pronunciation is supposed to be a Catholic revolt thing against English upper class French pronunciations with the H. So H. When you say H, it's a H. That's supposed to be a Catholic response to the English 1066 Normans saying H without, and they drop the H.
So basically, Dave, you started with a position of saying, I'm a little bit irritated by people saying hoplites, and you've ended up expanding this into a theory of class warfare that extends over the last 1,046 years, or something like that.
It goes back to the Battle of Oakrid, or what it is.
Oakrid or Hastings, and Harold and his Huscarls, probably.
Harold at the Battle of Hastings, yeah.
And his Huscarls and his camels, probably.
Yeah, you can just imagine Duke William saying, how'd you like them arrows?
How'd you like them arrows, Harry? Hurry up, Harry. Come on. All right.
We're going down the pub.
I think we're going down the pub, but hopefully soon. All right. Well, Harry and the Huscarls then, I think it's time to go around the window and say, Dave's theory that mispronunciation of words which no one quite knows how to pronounce is absolutely ruining wargaming experiences for him. So let's run round it. So the question is, Dave, do you agree with Dave, or Dave, do you think he's an arse? So, Tamsin?
I'm really not sure on this one.
We'll come back to you. Peter?
Arse. It's just, he's argued himself in a circle three times about everyone.
Andy Finkel?
Arse.
Arse.
Adam?
Well, I know you just want an answer, but I've got to say a couple of things because I haven't said them yet. First thing, Dave, there's been some research done, and apparently the word Byzantine, the A in the middle and the E is a split digraph. So it should actually be pronounced Byzantine. Okay, so there's some learning for you. Next thing, I would say arse, but I just remember something that I heard on Joe Rogan's podcast. He was talking to someone about Neanderthals. And this bloke said, and when we're kids, we all call them Neanderthals. And then you learn that it should be called Neanderthal. But I don't like saying that because it makes me sound pretentious. And I just thought, mate, if you learn how to do something properly, don't be scared about the fact that you've learned how to say something properly. So that's putting me more towards not arse. But now I'm thinking that anything to do with ancient history should always be pronounced in a South London accent, to be perfectly honest. So I'm going to go with arse.
Ancient history.
Ancient history? Mr. Leroy Mayer, what have we got?
Arse.
Tamsin, we're coming back to you. We're getting close to arse, right? So, Dave, I think the big consensus here with myself as well is, Dave, I think you're an arse. Well, as the 88 round of Destiny hits the Sherman tank of time, that means time's up for us on this week's episode of I'm Sorry, I Think You're an Arse. We'll be back next week. With the theme music fading off into the background then, it's probably time now for a quick jaunt round to see who's been playing what. And I think, Mr. Finkel, in the middle of the screen yet again, you're the fulcrum through which almost all games have been played in the last week or so amongst this eclectic bunch of wargamers. So were you actually going to try out the magical page 58 rule against your erstwhile opponent, Mr. Ray, this week? Did that battle happen?
The battle happened, but the page 58 situation actually didn't, because it turned out that the only spearmen of mine which ended facing knights of his were unarmoured, so the question never actually arose.
Okay. So how did the battle go?
Well, Harold was still alive at the end and his army hadn't run away, so I reckon that's a victory.
What, so it was timed out then, or something like that?
It was. We'd played about 3 hours and I'd taken more damage than him, but he hadn't broken through. The terrain went well in my favour, and his centre infantry was running away from my infantry, and I couldn't catch them. And he had a narrow front on which to charge round my flank, but I was blocking it off with other troops, so we decided to call it a draw. But it's the first time I've played the Battle of Hastings and not lost, so I'm happy with that.
When playing for either side, possibly, or is there always one side that you prefer to play with?
No, I've played it once at Historicon years ago as the Normans, and I played it once in the club as I played against my friend Mark as the Anglo-Saxons, and both times we lost. So, as I say, I'm happy to have a result with Harold still alive.
No, that's a very good result then. And did you manage to fit in any other games this week?
I had a game against Dave Saunders, and he'll tell you about that one, because I was second and he was second to last.
Okay, so Dave, how did that go from your side of things?
I think Andy was a bit tired and I completely outmaneuvered him, worked his flanks and destroyed his army with comparative ease.
Kind of sums it up, really.
Right, what armies were you actually using?
Andy was using his Hebrew army, which was very good with the armour chats, and I responded with Sciatic Egyptian. So basically I was lining up with mediocre spearmen against medium swordsmen and just pinned them with a load of bowmen and then ran them in the flank with the swordsmen. And his impetuous elite heavy infantry I outmaneuvered with my Greek armoured hoplites.
That must have been quite a sight.
Dave, if your army had been sciatic, it wouldn't have been able to move.
Yeah, that's true. Hoplites, that is.
It was sciatic, not sciatic.
Quite possibly.
Sciatic. You say sciatic, I say
sciatic. South London sciatic. All right. Okay. But from my point of view, I think I briefly fired up the PlayStation 3 this week to have a put into the disc for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which I don't think I've put in for about old school, but I don't think I've put in for about 2 years. I own a PS3 because I don't play very often, and I've been working through COD, and my God, it's hard when you have a 2 year break from it. It really, really is. You do die an awful lot with different lots of Russians coming in and blowing bits out of you. So I did that for a mercifully brief period of time, and then fired up this ongoing campaign that I've got with Medieval Total War as well, which is really old school, where I must admit I just enjoyed the sieges almost more than the land battles, because the land battles the troops just sort of run away and you're chasing them for ages, but the sieges, the towns are really, really nice, and quite often the defenders are a bit hopeless as well, so as long as you can get in there. So I think I actually managed fire that up and take a couple more towns in my campaign to dominate the world with the Venetians. But it just is that thing of a long old game when there's the thing and it says, you've played 30 turns and there are another 123 turns to go before to achieve your objective of capturing this amount of territory. And you think that's quite a lot, isn't it? Really, it's quite a commitment in life terms for staring at a screen when we all spend quite a lot of the day staring at a screen for all sorts of different reasons as well. But so yeah, I've been doing a bit of that, but neither against kind of proper opponents. I keep sort of trying to arrange games on Discord for Arts de la Guerre and then forgetting to look at Discord again because there's only so many social media different platforms that I can physically have open at any one time, and I'm kind of reluctant to set them all up to have notifications as well. So I probably missed some stuff, but maybe I should have another look at that and see if I can fit some more stuff in. But I think that has probably been the week in gaming.
This means war.
So look, with gaming receding into the distance in a fairly light gaming week, we're into the heavyweight intellectual part of the podcast. It's time for Andy's quiz.
Question, comment les voir? Question, le trou est sans fond. Question, la légende le dit. Question, elle dit aussi. Question, c'est une maladie. Question.
Andy, that's the music. That's faded into the background. Hit us with whatever the answers were to. Was it an arse themed quiz last week, or am I remembering the week before?
No,
yes,
last week was the arse quiz, right? So
the arse quiz, right?
The first question was: in which war was French commander Baron Disco captured after being shot in the nether regions?
The North American part of the 7 Years' War.
Correct.
Admiral Disco. Disco, was it?
Baron Disco.
Baron Disco. Did he write the theme tune to your quiz? Is that why you picked it?
I doubt it.
Baron Disco, maybe. Okay.
He would have found driving a bit difficult after being shot in the nether regions.
I suppose so, actually, yes.
I think you pronounced his name wrong.
He died of his wounds, didn't he?
No, he was captured, and I think he was...
captured, and I think that he'd been shot a few times, was recovering, got shot again while he was recovering and captured, and died in captivity from his wounds.
I don't think so. What I remember reading, he was handed back at the end of the war and kind of exonerated. The governor of Canada wanted to blame him for a massive defeat, and there was some political stuff afterwards.
No, maybe I'm thinking of someone else.
Yeah. Right.
Wow.
In the movie,
okay. All right.
Question 2. In the movie Battle of Britain, as he sees a massive force of Luftwaffe planes flying overhead, which German commander said, "If we lose now, we deserve to have our arses kicked out"?
Goering.
That's right.
Goering. Okay.
It was Goering, right? And number 3. In what movie does an American soldier say that the only place to hit a Tiger tank is in the ass?
Fury.
Definitely got to be Fury.
No,
we'll go for that one.
Heroes. It's Kelly's Heroes.
Kelly's Heroes.
That was quite a paint gun. Yeah. You hit him with a paint shell. They flatter the Tiger tank in red paint.
All right.
Something like that, yeah. Right.
Okay.
Comment les entendre? Question, comment les voir? Question, le trou est sans fond. Question, la légende le dit. Question, elle dit aussi. Question, c'est une maladie. Question.
Right, that's good. So hit us with this week's questions, Andy.
Right. Well, I got the idea of this week's question from last week's reference to the Bayeux Tapestry, but I've left out reference to winkles or camels.
Okay. All right.
So the theme this week is cross-channel. So number 1, who, commanding an army for the first time at the age of 70, beat the invading French army in a battle at Lincoln?
Lincoln. Okay. All right. Intriguing one.
Question
testing
2.
my local history.
Yeah. What unique honour was conferred on British double agent Eddie Chapman after he returned to his German spy master in France after a mission to England?
I know that one.
Mystery. Okay.
Number 3, we shall fight them on the beaches, said Winston Churchill in 1940. England has been invaded by armies on several occasions. How many times did the invaders have to fight their way ashore? 1, 2, or 3?
Ooh, that's an interesting one, isn't it? I guess, yeah, that's almost a not a Brixham question as well, which is lovely. All right, well, look, that's Andy's quiz.
Question, comment les voir? Question, le trou est sans fond. Question, la légende le dit. Question, elle dit aussi. Question, c'est une maladie. Question.
So look, with Andy's quiz music fading into the Admiral Disco's disco background, we're now going to quickly whiz round and see what's coming up next week, and is there anything else that's been bugging you over the course of the Wargaming week. So Dave, starting with you in that top left corner, if you're not sulking through being unanimously described as an arse by the other 6 of us here, really, it's no change really, is it? Probably not a different. What have you got coming up? Do you think is there anything going to need to be ordered or added, or is it still painting the other guys for the foreseeable?
I'm increasingly worried about the lack of undercoating sprays from our erstwhile European cooperative friends.
Yes.
We see. I mean, I don't care about Northern Ireland being cut off from soil and cut flowers. I'm more worried about army painter for me to do. I'll put an order in January, and it's still not going to show up.
Have you not tried Holford's?
I have tried. I've done Holford's before, and yes, you're right. Holford's white spray is very, very good, but they don't do a matte black spray.
They do.
Not a matte black.
Definitely.
Yes, they do.
I've got matte black spray from Holford's.
It's not labelled as a primer.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's a Halfords down the road from me. But okay, so I mean, I've already been planning on Halfords because I am actually running out of white on this coat. But the worst thing is matte, anti-shine, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Although I'm told that Wilkinson do Winsor and Newton.
Yeah, Winsor and Newton's one is quite nice. I've used it before.
But I mean, I've got an order in. It just seems to be. I mean, every time I look at it,
You can also get the painter on one.
Not for 6.
The matte.
By the matte.
Yeah, the matte varnish. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of extra work, isn't it? I don't know. I think the
Gives them
spray is
something
much,
to do.
much better. The spray is much better.
Nothing to do with the suppliers. I mean, I use Element Games in Manchester. They're very good. I like them a lot. They're really nice people. Excellent. They give a little discounting preference thing. But every time I go on their website and look at my account, it says, expected in 2 days' time, and it gets deferred again and again. And I just think we're waiting for a container load of army painter sprays. And I actually went and looked at one of the tins of sprays and found they were made in Italy.
That could be the secret. Maybe they're stuck in the Italian postal system. But I think Element Games have allowed me to cancel stuff when it's been a long time before. So, if you do a Halfords run, you might be able to substitute it and not suddenly end up, with an enormous stock or a stockpile, a spray paint mountain.
But I don't suspect Wilkinson's in Harrow and the Hill are going to have Winsor and Newton.
But that's sort of an art shop thing, though, isn't it? The Winsor and Newton stuff.
Yeah, there's a couple of good art shops. Yeah, there's several art shops in East London. There's a whole row of them that have the Winsor and Newton. Back in the day when we could go out and about, they let you order.
And sprays through the post.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I suppose. So how long have we got now till non-essential retail? Is that end of March?
April, isn't it? Mid-April?
Mid-April.
Oh, right.
The 12th or 17th of April, non-essential shops like hairdressers could start to reopen.
Oh, right, yes. I
Yeah, we all
remember
had
that.
to share ourselves in that period. I mean, I have.
Yeah.
I was surprised that wargaming stores weren't listed on the roadmap for return to normality. It's like, pubs open on the 12th, wargaming stores open on the 13th, and then life is all good from there.
Isn't it click and collect, though?
April
My
12th.
hair clippings. My
So
hair
I can't get a haircut for my birthday.
No. No, I'm afraid not. No, that's going to be it. It's going to have to be a celebration. But I'd get booked in quickly if I was you. Definitely, there will be a lot of demand.
My hair clippings can be clipped at 4mm and 2mm and reused as flock.
I must admit, Dave, looking at most of us here, we could probably do with that like static grass thing to make our hair actually stand up and look a bit thicker. Really, that could be the next choice.
You might get clogged with Gorilla Glue though.
Yes, that could be the challenge. So Andy, what about you? What's your process this week? Are you going to look at that list on the wall and see what else is coming up, or do you think you're going to? I
might do just to sort of think ahead, yeah. But while I've got your attention, can I give a couple of shout outs for people I think have done good stuff? I heard back from the Wargame Association of Reading the day after I contacted them last week, confirming that they had cancelled the duplicate order and confirmed my place from last year for this year. So well done to them for doing it so quickly. Just a bit of praise.
Yep.
You normally complain about people when they're doing wrong. I think you should, give a shout out to people when they do things right. The other thing, just a piece of news, is that I had an email from Ian Marsh of Fighting 15s, who's now selling army packs of metals for roughly the same price as Plastic Soldier Company are doing for plastics. So at the moment, he's just going to be doing. They're going to be the gladiator figures. He's going to be doing initially Huns and late Romans. And he'll also be doing unit packs of about 32 figures. And I've suggested to him one or two little tweaks for what actually goes in the packs. And he's thinking of selling them on the day when he goes to shows.
I saw that because it was, that whole discussion that we had. I saw somewhere he posted that he'd actually listened to our podcast. So maybe he's going to listen to this one as well. We should give him a name check. But it was that thing about saying if you package stuff together in bulk or in volume, you can then, as a manufacturer, justify bringing the overall price down. And I think with the PSC stuff going up in price recently by about 20-30%, his new stuff is actually the same or cheaper than the plastics.
As it is for working out about 32p a figure for the metals.
Yeah, which is cheaper than the plastics now are, with the new pricing that they've got. So that'd be interesting if these kind of ADLG army size sort of packs actually becomes a thing and people can kind of bang them out. And those gladiator figures are actually, they're something that we all overlook, but they're
some of them are quite nice. My Norman's a gladiator because I got them from Mike Lewis before he sold the range off to Ian.
Okay,
and I'm very happy with them.
My Egyptian from earlier this year were all from Gladiator for me, and they're really.
I think their biblicals are fantastic. Really good.
Possibly the best range other than Essex you may compare to them. But I think that the biblicals are really, really good. And another shout out to someone who listens to this is Martin from ISITYAA. He's actually doing painting for Ian at Fighting 15s. If you go on Martin and ISITYAA's blog, where we're funding mentioned.
Yes, we've got a mention. We got a review this week. Don't know who saw that. It was quite remarkable. Yeah,
that was quite kind actually.
Well, it could have been less kind quite easily, but unfair.
Yeah, I only pick him up on one point, which is he was under the mistaken impression that it had to be heavy knights to qualify as a full badger.
Medium knights are better.
Yeah,
but he actually get more bang for your buck.
I quite agree, but he actually said heavy knight, so I mean we can forgive him that, but just sort of point of accuracy.
Yeah. Well, if you do go heavy, they've got to be full on heavy, all in, elite,
I think
charge.
You're totally confused by the badger. I think I think
I think you've got to have listened to all 68 episodes to have understood what a full badger is. It's kind of buried in the subtext of the chit chat, or how is it described? The war games wittering. I think that we're aspiring to here. Okay, no, that's a good one actually. That's a good catch, Andy. I did mean to mention that as well. It's interesting pricing. Moving on, so let's kind of keep going around. So Tamsin, you did faces this week? Are you going to do like hands the next week or something?
Shoulder flashes.
I did. Well, I did for hands at the same time.
Hands and faces. Okay.
Hands and faces. Yeah. So, well, essentially all that's left to do on this batch, sort of black leather bits and the metal work. So.
And with
and
basing
the
with those,
on some of the standard bearers. So yeah.
The horse. So with those cavalry, it's for 6mm. Do you use like really, really tiny static grass, or do you go for actual flock with or whatever it is with 6mm?
I think when I did the original ones, I did use 2mm.
2mm. Wow, that's teeny tiny, isn't it? That's getting close to flock.
2mm static grass is pretty standard. Most of it.
Okay.
What you tend to get in most packs. You do get longer, but
right. Okay, I'm thinking mine was 4 for some reason, but that's a bit. Adam, as we say traditionally, and I know we're a year into this now, you're on mute, but
yeah, no, I was just saying for 6mm figures, 2mm grass is like well above the knee. It's up to the thigh, so it's probably looks like proper wading through a cornfield.
Yeah. No, which is probably quite good. No, but we've been to that cornfield in the American Civil War, and the corn is a lot higher. You could probably use 10mm grass or something like that for the actual cornfield grass if you were doing that properly. Okay. And do you think Tamsin, do you think the paratroopers might get started this week, or are you going to have the discipline to stick with the 6mm American Civil Wars?
I'll be sticking with the 6mm this week.
Admirable.
Yeah. I'll be doing prep work on the 28mm paras.
Okay, good. So you'll do 4 books at any one time, but only 1.5 projects if you count prepping as half.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. All right. Well, look, let's go full badger next then, Peter. You say you've got a day off. Does that mean are you gonna spray them? Are you gonna bother undercoating? You're just gonna go straight gold? How are you gonna approach your hussars?
I'm gonna got the white paint, give them a goal, spray over that with that. But I think I'm gonna be faffing about with the whole sticking them down and that, and trying to work out how I can get the wings on and paint it and spray it without it all being something that I have to stick back together again half a dozen times. So I'm gonna be faffing with that and having a bit of fun with it. Yeah, I quite enjoy doing that. Well, once it comes together and you've got a plan and it works, it feels good. But there's that. And also, I was going to set aside some time to sit down with a coffee and work out what 2 competitive armies I want for the new ADLG book. It's not out yet, but I'm just thinking when we get back and going to tournaments, I was just thinking, like when the one you run up in Manchester and it splits into 2 periods. What was it? It was before 1000 and after 1000?
Possibly, yeah. Or was it 500? I can't remember which way it used to split.
Yeah. It might be 500, but basically, thinking of just 2 armies. Is it 2 new armies I want to do? But I want to sort of think of a new competitive army.
Okay. Wow. So you're just doing some deep army list diving before you see the new versions coming out. That's bold.
Yeah, just think of an army I want to look at, just to look at something a bit different, something set up. So. In between, gives me something to chew on and think about while waiting for the new list to come out. But do the polls, paint them up, some nice winged hussars, and then think about, do I want to do a project? Because look at the timeline when we've got things to open up. Because I like to get an army painted up, then practice it for the competitions for when we go play. And, there's a few people around this picture that I usually try and practice a game and sit. Normally Dave takes it apart, and I try it on Simon, and he gives me a different line, and then Andy shows me how to defend. I try a few things out for competitions. So I think I quite get getting my head into that.
If you want an army that's very simple, not a lot of complexity to it, Anglo-Saxon.
I want a bit more complexity.
Very simple.
Yeah.
Simple but not good, quite possibly. Okay, so you're going to be it's bold though. I guess there's not going to be that many changes in the new list, but it's just picking a couple. And if you're looking at a couple of matched armies, I think I can probably recommend a number of podcasts which have come out in the last few months in which may be discussing that. And I think Dave, actually, we're talking about doing Byzantines against the Bulgars for the next one, which is sort of picking something slightly obscure, picking one of the more obscure Byzantine lists or Byzantine lists. Stop grinding your teeth, Dave. Yeah, the Bulgars. I'm not sure there's a different way to pronounce those.
I picked up a nice Byzantine army in Shalwa when we were there.
Okay.
You always have
Yeah,
Shalwa.
yeah. Dave,
Always have
do you
Shalwa.
pronounce the Dave? Do you pronounce the Byzantine commander Basil or Basil?
Exactly. That's my issue.
Oregano, I
Justine.
think he's called. That's his sub-commander, is Oregano.
Is it Justin or Justine?
Justine. So, Adam, what about you? You gonna crack and start prepping the plastic Perrys, or are you just
Well,
going
no,
to
it's,
spend all your time looking for nail polish remover shakers?
Vortex manipulators. No, I'm gonna finish the Dacians. What is it? The one's up, Dave? Dacian? No, Dacians. Yeah, I'm going to finish the Dacians, and then I probably won't go straight on to the medieval stuff. I'm going to have a break from 25mm. So I was thinking of doing some ships. So I've got a few sort of like ironclads that need to be put together and painted. So I'll probably sort of like get out a couple of ironclads and start sticking them together, possibly. Or I might just change my mind and do something completely different. Not absolutely sure.
Who knows? Okay. And then do you get your kids? No, your kids back to school in a fortnight, aren't they? With everybody else's, I guess. And then and cricket season will start again, and you can do a bit more bat seasoning as well.
No, that's a winter job, so it's all good.
That's all done. Okay. Well, look, if we're talking cricket, we of course have to pretend that we're talking to an Australian who pretends to be interested in it. Simon, what? No, of course not. Exactly. So what's on your list after a paltry 2 medium cavalry week? What's coming up for you?
So I'm going to be finishing the last of my figures for my Rampant Dragon army. So need some more 25mm rats because you need more, rats and things like that.
I still need to dig those 2 rats out for you, don't I? I'll do that as soon as we finish recording. Get that sorted for you.
They're in a box somewhere.
Yep.
But then I'm going to start prepping the Alexandrian army, Alexander the Great army, and just start getting my head around how the pike I want to work. So I bought all the different pike options from museums. So the pike standing upright and sort of coming down that porcupine effect to try and get that proper pike effect look of them coming towards you. And if we can get some decent weather, I might actually try to get some base coating done. So that'll be good fun.
Excellent. Okay, so that's a solid week. I think I may well just be sticking or cutting out. That's the downside of doing your own transfers, having to exactly carefully cut out the shield transfers and then do the microsole, the microset. In fact, the microset and then the microsole and the different layers of varnish, and get all those sorted and tart up all these old spearmen to achieve something or get some sort of result. And I think definitely there will be a mass spraying moment. I've got 2 different trays there that they've even got some of those the museum Persians, the Spara Bar and things like that. I've got some more cavalry on that one. I've got some of the Legio Heroica Ottoman cavalry to do, and I think if I get all that done, that probably does mean that I will then end up doing the German tanks, really, just as distraction pieces, because I'll set myself the plan of doing about 100 horsemen or 100 horses, and I'll want something to stop doing that. And I actually have been sat here playing whilst we're doing this on the desk with this Arrowhead Miniatures Puma armoured car, which came in about 15 different pieces, possibly more, and did have an interior that I did paint with the interior ivory white, for those of you who can remember when we talked about that German paint set, which is quite worrying. But I think I may have actually glued the turret back on, so that might be slightly academic. But this Puma does look so nice that I may actually push that to the front of the queue and do some of these different German armoured cars and get that done as well, because they do look kind of cool. So that's the week ahead for me. A bit more spraying as well. So I think on that note, we've gone around the room. We've done all our normal features and a tidy short one, as we're now looking forward in some way to our next 5-week period until the next thing changes in whatever world we're in. So we will leave you to your spraying, undercoating, and waiting for things to arrive and waiting for stuff to get better. So Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.
See you, everyone.
Bye.